Welcome back, folks. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. He is Gary Sheffield Jr. This is Yankees Unloaded, and the Yankees just probably won the game of the year against the Red Sox. I know, Gary, I know that's a big thing to say, but that game was incredible. 11-8, a roller coaster game. Six lead changes or six times that they were tied? I mean, just a wild game. Aaron Judge got on base six times today. It's the most of his career. He's never done that before.
It's nice seeing the Yankees score some runs, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Grisham came through in the clutch. Glaber came through in the clutch. I'm not going to say, the Yankees are 1-0 in the Jazz Chisholm era just because the move was made before. But hey, it felt like today, at least maybe it's just me, Gary, felt like there was kind of some rejuvenation. And the reason I say, I know that they fought hard last night. I'm not saying that. But I thought there were some guys that normally don't show anything, and they showed up today. I thought Grisham was hustling, like he was hustling today. Verdugo had his moments even. I mean, I thought today was kind of like something where, they all know. No one's dumb. No one's living under a rock. They all know Chisholm is coming to the Yankees. So I thought it was interesting. Glaber was asked how he felt after the game about it. He thought it was a really good move, and he was totally fine with it. Jack Curry on yes afterwards had some really juicy things to say. They're not done. Looking at another bat. Torres potentially moving to third base, potentially. And he mentioned Isaac Paredes. He mentioned Yandy Diaz. And he mentioned going after Pete Fairbanks, which I think a lot of people, including you and I, felt like Pete Fairbanks was going to happen before the game. It sounded like they were getting to the finish line.
There were a few reporters who were definitely saying, they didn't say it was close, but they said the Yankees are motivated to get something done. And usually when Brian Cashman's actually motivated to unzip his sleeping bag, he gets something done. So I will say this though, Jake, the Fairbanks Paredes package deal there is a home run for the Yankees. Now, I know what people are thinking. You don't think Paredes and star player, but I will say the Yankees don't need stars. The Yankees need complementary bats. And when we talk about complementary bats, we're talking about a player with an ops of 800, okay? This is a dude whose on base percentage. Remember that target on base? We were talking about of 320 to 330.
Yeah.
I know it's ridiculous, but that's new school baseball. On base percentages aren't 400. You don't see the Juan Sotos anymore. That's how special those guys are. Paredes, on base percentage, 356. His slugging is 441.
So
this is a player.
Potentially.
He could be, but I will say this. Chisholm checked the box of speed and athleticism. The Yankees needed that in the worst way. DJ LeMahieu, not athletic, right? Glaber Torres, not athletic. There are a lot of guys on this team that you wouldn't check that box. And he's, again, not one of those guys who's fleet of foot. But what he does do is he can hit. He's a complimentary bat. It's exactly what we need. So I will say this. Positionally, this is a guy who's going to play first base. And if Glaber Torres, at least the rumor, is that he's going to go play third base, and so that Jazz Chisholm can play his favorite position at second base, well, that leaves outfield open for Jason Dominguez, who we expect to return later this week or in the coming weeks. And then obviously Giancarlo Stanton returns to the lineup. You're talking about a Dominguez, Soto, Judge outfield, Stanton at DH. You've got Paredes at first base, Glaber Torres at third, and you've got what's his face? Chisholm at second base. Wells swinging a hot bat behind the plate. I mean, he's swinging a much hotter bat than what he was.
Yeah,
this team can hit again, and I'm not going to say that World Series on, but you can start to see it materializing with an ailing Baltimore Orioles who frankly can't win a game. And Jake, we can't necessarily say Baltimore is just going to hit a home run with the trade deadline because it's not a foregone conclusion. They have to trade in big prospects to get what they need. So I would say it's not safe that Baltimore's not going to make major moves, but it's a lot to offer. They've got to offer a lot to get that done. And I'm just not sure if they're going to do that. So us making these smaller moves and making multiple moves could actually pay huge dividends in October.
No, I agree. Morosi brought up, the potential of having to give up all those guys to get, a guy like Skubal. I'll say this. it's kind of bittersweet. I low-key want the Orioles to sell their farm because I think they have guys that are 100, like a million% going to work in the MLB. Like I trust in their farm system. Like we've talked about Jackson Holiday. We talked about Mayo. Those guys, like I feel very confident in their top 5. They're all going to be good players in the major leagues, if not end up being stars, right? And so I kind of, part of me wants them gone because I still think the Yankees can beat the Orioles even if they make those moves. But it would be nice because let's be honest, Gary, they're not making those type of moves next year. I think this is the only year where you can trade those guys away because eventually those guys are going to assimilate into that lineup, into the building, that structure, essentially the foundation.
You know why, by the way, I don't think they're going to do it?
I don't think they're going to do it either.
You know who's a free agent this offseason?
Who's that?
Mr. Corbin Burns.
And
I'll tell you this, Corbin Burns is going to cost a pretty penny. This is going to be this is a $200 to $300 million pitcher. And rightfully so. I understand rightfully so. This is a guy who can give you 200 innings. He can be the bulldog that everybody needs. Everybody wants it. The Yankees were after him. So let's not act like this isn't a player who can fit everywhere. He can. Okay. So Baltimore knows even if you go get a Scooble, you unleash essentially all your prospects to go get that done. The Orioles have to win a World Series this year if you pull the trigger on that. But you mentioned before we went live, a couple hours ago actually, that if Baltimore actually trades in these assets, well, that kind of shortens their window, doesn't it? It doesn't necessarily put them in the mix for the next decade where they clearly are right now. That's where I would safely say their estimate is that with Jackson Holiday and these other prospects that they have on the wings, they should be good for the next 6 to 8 years, and they can expect to be competing. Yeah, so them trading in these prospects, it doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense for them per se. But for the Yankees, we've got Garrett Cole aging. We've got Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge aging. We've got these players that we need to cash in right now. So it makes a lot of sense for us, not necessarily them. So I think in hindsight here, I think after the deadline, we're going to look like the aggressive team, at least in the short term. And hopefully that pays off in October. Hopefully.
Yeah. It's really interesting, right? Because, Esteves goes to the Phillies. That was a guy that was brought up by Jim Bowden. Remember, he said they already had a deal. Like, it was ready and they were just waiting.
That's a good move for them.
I like it for both parties as well. The Angels need to load up that farm system and they're not going anywhere right now. And the Phillies needed a closer, and we all know that they probably would have gone like ape shit for Mason Miller, but the reality is he just got hurt. So,
what did he do again? He punched a wall,
punched a table.
I still have no idea in 2024 how professional athletes are doing that. I really can't believe it.
I have a theory, right, for my conspiracy theory.
What, you think he didn't want to get traded?
I don't think.
You think he really?
I really think Mason Miller wants to stick around. I don't think he wants to get traded.
What would be the purpose of sticking around though with the A's? Because, like what's the actual
so you
mentality
and I,
of that
as kind of analysts and fans and whatnot, we look at that like, why wouldn't you want to go to the Phillies and win a World Series? But these people look at it as like maybe he's comfortable where he is right now. Maybe coming up through a farm system, sticking with that team. Maybe he's trying to be the Kobe Bryant, right? And just stick with the same team. You know what I mean? Like,
well, he has to know that even if he continues on this path, he's not going to end up with Oakland, right? Like, does he know contracted, like arbitration is going to be coming around? Right. They're going to trade you whether or not you want it or regardless.
No, I don't want to speak for him, but I do feel like it's the same thing. We always are like, why did that veteran sign with that shitty team? Well, the reason why somebody like Tommy Pham is totally fine being on the White Sox right now. Funny, I totally just let the cat out of the bag there. The reason why
I was like, I wonder who he's talking about. Oh, Tommy Pham, yeah. But Tommy Pham knows he's going to be dealt to a contender. That's one thing.
Exactly. But also, I think at that point in his career, some guys kind of pick up the pace. And I think, some veterans want to be leaders, and it's just kind of a different, you get different positioning. If you go to the Yankees and you're Tommy Pham, you're not a leader anymore. Like you're a guy. You know what I mean? When you go to like a Marlins team that just lost Chaz Chisholm, yeah, you'd be a leader for that team. Andrew McCutchen for the Pirates is a leader for that team. If Andrew McCutchen went to the Yankees, he's not leading anybody. You know what I'm saying? So That's kind of how I look at it. Now, again, I don't want to get too much into that because he's not in play. The Yankees aren't trading for him. And we now know that Brent Rooker isn't going to be in play either. I think you're right. I think the Rays tend to be the option here. I do want to give this game some focus because it was a really good game. Verdugo went 3 for 6. Soto went 2 for 5. Aaron Judge 4 for 4. Wells
Verdugo seemingly can only hit against Boston. So I think we should just go ahead and sit him down until we see Boston later on this season. And when we do that, you can unleash the Doogie train.
Yeah, I mean, you got Doogie, who is a situational, and by situational only against Boston player, and then you have your second starter in the rotation. I didn't make that choice. Boone made that choice. Nestor Cortez, who should be designated to only start home games. So that's.
By the way, Stroman was just flat out atrocious today. I mean,
do need to talk.
I know the ball was flying, but man,
because I know today felt like a juiced ball game. I'm just saying. It's nice Saturday night and everything.
Well, put your money where your mouth is. Do you think the baseballs are still juiced every once in a while?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you think so? Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. I don't really know where I stand on that, but I'll tell you this. A lot of people still talk about that to me behind closed doors. They're like, there's just no way.
Yeah.
No way.
Why were the balls going out the yard like that today?
I mean, I'm sure some people who would defend it would say, well,
was it the weather? Because, I think Smoltz said it was the weather. And I was like...
It was warm, so I will give him that. But, I mean, was it that warm? I'm just not so sure about it.
Yeah. So... I don't know. O'Neill, he looks like every single bully in one of those high school movies, just like bullying people. Like his
dad was a bodybuilder, I'm pretty sure.
Was he? Yeah.
Yeah. His dad was like Mr. I don't know. He was like Mr. like Olympia or whatever you call it.
Yeah. I don't want to see Tyler,
which is not a surprise.
I don't want to see him anymore. He's annoying. But anyway, the Aaron Judge home run, great. Soto home run, great. Cabrera home run, LOL. You saw that, right? When the guy flew over he tried to rob it and he flew into
I did. My luck watching that play, I thought, oh, he's going to flip into the stands. A fan's going to hand him the ball. I caught it, and they're going to call in and out.
I thought they were going to do it. I totally thought, and then I realized, wait, that burly guy behind him is a Yankee fan, so no.
Yeah, it wasn't going to happen. No. So, I mean, I was happy to see it, and that's a long way out there. So, it apparently baseball would tell me it was just that one.
Games. I've never seen anybody dive into the outfield stands, not the Jeter thing, but I've never seen anybody dive over the wall, and I've seen it now back-to-back games.
Well, we've seen it with Torrey Hunter. You remember that? Torrey Hunter in the playoffs, David Ortiz against Detroit. I think it was Joaquin Benoit that was pitching, and he gave up a grand slam to David Ortiz. He goes over the wall, and then the cop sitting in the background like this. I actually text Torrey Hunter after the game. I was like, hey, I hope you're good. I kind of wish I didn't do that. But anyway, I texted him, and I was like, hey, hope you're good. And he's like, yeah, man, I'm good. That game sucked. So yeah, it was a funny exchange. But that was like the only other time I remember it.
That's the one guy I wanted to be a Yankee that never was.
Torrey Hunter?
Yeah. One of them.
Player.
One of them that I wanted to be a Yankee. I've had quite a few. So looking at this game, I mean, I'll say this, okay? Let's just take away the offense put together 16 hits. They scored 11 runs. They had 3 home runs. They forced 5 walks, and they did the necessary things to get this win. And it's now happened back-to-back games where the offense picked up the pace. Has the offense woken up? I don't know. I will say, as far as the pitching goes, we give Clay Holmes a lot of flack. Of course, part of the inconsistency is the fact he can show up and look like this. He just doesn't do it all the time. So
you mean to tell me he should be like a setup man?
It's funny how that works. So Clay Holmes tonight was fantastic. I know he had a walk, but he was fantastic. The break on his pitches, it was disgusting. He was tunneling very well. You could see that too. There were some guys that what was it, Connor Wong? He had a pitch like way outside, and like I think like my mom was watching with my dad and I, and she's like, "Why do you swing at that?" It's like, you have to understand, he's seeing the same pitch he just saw that was in the strike zone, And now that thing is way over there. And
yeah, that's the importance of pitch sequencing. And also, Jake, this is the most important thing for Clay Holmes. And this is something that's been a huge problem. And part of the reason why we've said he's just not a closer.
Yeah.
He doesn't get ahead of guys. But when he does, this is what it looks like. This is what that type of stuff plays like when you throw strike one. But I'll tell you this, as Yankees fans, and majority of people who watch our podcast are diehard Yankees fans and they want to see the details. Well, I'll tell you this, here's the details. If Clay Holmes is throwing ball one to start an at bat and he has to pitch to contact, he's 3-1, 3-2, he's giving up hard contact, right? He did it against Boston in New York. He did it early this series in Fenway. You get behind the count, your 99 with sink becomes hittable all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason I just don't trust this guy. I want to give him all the credit in the world for pitching well today. Multiple innings. Going 2 innings is not easy, especially on the road. He was really good
to put him in. And I mean, that was really dumb to put him in when they did. But it is what it is. It worked out.
Worked out.
They did have, what's his face? Luke Weaver in the bullpen ready to go in case they needed him.
Wouldn't have wanted to see him at all.
Not right now. Kane Lee, on the other hand, should probably be the closer if we're being honest currently. He's been excellent.
He should be our setup man after we acquire Fairbanks. That's my opinion. I want guys who throw strike one, and I think he does it. Do I think Fairbanks is coming to New York?
Yeah.
You know,
because
I think there are
like Tanner Scott might come to New York now. The fact that he was mentioned by name by Curry, I kind of feel like Fairbanks. I think they could get them both, if I'm being honest. But I think they really want to get Tanner Scott.
I think the rest of this deadline is going to look like this. I think the Yankees are going to get Tanner Scott.
Okay.
And they are going to get Paredes. That's my prediction.
Get Fairbanks with Paredes, or are you saying just Paredes?
Just Paredes.
Okay. And you know what's still interesting to me is that they still are looking today and yesterday. The scouts were at the Rays game and they were at the Reds game. So they've done a lot of due diligence on the Reds. And it makes me wonder, like, I know, Morosi he didn't feel too great about Jonathan India going to the Yankees. I still wouldn't rule that out, believe it or not. I still wouldn't. And the reason is because Jonathan India could play third.
Yeah, but is India really bringing back a huge package for Cincinnati in your estimation?
I mean, I think he'd probably cost you. I think the Reds mainly would want Hampton. I think they'd want.
I would flip them Hampton. In my opinion, I would flip them.
I think that's what they would want. I don't know what it would really take. Okay. I don't think it would be expensive. I don't think the Chisholm deal was expensive. I mean, Agustin Ramirez, we're a big fan of Agustin Ramirez on this show. We talked about him a lot. And yes, part of me was like, shit, he's going to go and he's going to end up being a baller. I think he might be the one that got away, but Jazz Chisholm is under control for the next 2 years after this year. And he gives you the option now. You don't feel like, oh, crap, we have to bring back Gleyber. No, you can let him walk and he becomes your second baseman. Okay, so I love that move because, again, what do I always talk about? I don't want to just get a rental, even though Tanner Scott's a rental. Jazz Chisholm is more than a rental. He affects your future in next 2 years. That's a big deal for me. So, again, it sucks to lose Agustin, who's now already their fourth guy in their did you see that thing I sent you? He's fourth in the Marlins prospects. The Yankees, he was 20th. So,
that's insane.
The Marlins needed to upgrade their prospects so.
And they just traded Arias. I just don't see how that's physically possible. But I mean, bad organizations, this is just what they tend to do.
Yeah.
And Jake, the Yankees right now, it's good that we have control on Chisholm. That's awesome because it forces us, essentially what it does is it gives us control over what happens. If Gleyber Torres is gone after this year, we don't have to freak out about that. Not a huge issue, right? Jazz Chisholm's ceiling can potentially match that output. That's going to cost you, frankly, if Gleyber Torres plays well the rest of this year, has a really good October for the Yankees, he's going to make himself $100 million. Do the Yankees necessarily want to pay that price for a player who gave you a strong second half, but he was essentially horrible all year? And frankly, you still got to go play Juan Soto. So the Yankees are in a position where they just essentially traded for control at that position, and now it gives them the freedom to go do what they need to do. The
Yeah.
Yankees have to win a World Series this year, point blank, period. Whether or not people think they can do it, it's the Yankees. You have to go for it. There is no selling for the future when you've got a $360 million outfielder. You're about to sign a guy for $600 million in Juan Soto, and you have Garrett Cole on the books for $36 million a year. You've got Stanton at DH making 25 plus million a year. There's no situation where the New York Yankees are punting and not making moves because a couple of us on YouTube think that they don't have a real chance to go beat Philadelphia in a World Series. No, the Yankees are still going for it no matter what. That will always be our take. And frankly, when you're a win now organization that is spending $300 million, deadlines have to be aggressive all the time, unless it's so bad you're just like you're winning 70 games a year. In those situations, Jake, you make the adjustments and you go the other direction, but not a team that's projected to win 94 games. Come on.
No, and like with the Marlins, like I think they did right by Jazz. They sent him to an organization where, he's going to be liked and he's going to be, hopefully like nurtured, developed in a sense, but also he has a chance to go and win a World Series. And I mean, that's not something that, he was going to do with the Marlins, if we're being honest. Their timeline doesn't really fit his career. I mean, I will say this. Their minor league is insane. They have two guys that have a combined 50 home runs between the two of them now, Ramirez and De Los Santos in AAA. Although I did hear that Agustin Ramirez sounds like he's going right to the majors.
I'm actually kind of glad. I want to see what he does.
Yeah. No,
I want to see what he does because like I told you before, Jake, I don't get worried about prospects on a team that has to win a World Series in 2024. Yeah. Prospects are amazing, but banners are better. Winning a World Series is better. The Yankees go win a World Series this year because Paredes is at first base instead of waiting on Rizzo or waiting on DJ LeMahieu to fill the spot or Ben Rice. You think I'm worried if we have to go flip a player who's in our system? I don't care about 2026 when we're in 2024. I'll worry about 2027 when we get there. And frankly, if you're going to tell me that you're a win now organization, well, I feel like it's a lot of nerve to tell me that you're protecting prospects unless they're can't miss talent.
Yeah, no, absolutely. By the way, Isaac Paredes is actually under contract. Well, under control because obviously arbitration. He's under control until 2028. And when
did you see his age, by the way?
Yes, I did.
Come on now.
I mean, like I said, the only drawback is the athleticism. This is what I'll say. You brought up a great point in our last show. And you said when you already have that athlete, I'm okay adding, a guy, just like a guy that can hit, maybe sacrifice a little athleticism, because I already upgraded by getting Jazz. That box has been checked. So, yeah, I mean, I'm getting to be a little bit more open to Paredes than I initially was. But keep in mind also, I was against Paredes back when I felt like Ben Rice was really the option at first. I mean, at this point in time, Ben Rice had a huge hit in this game. Okay, I don't want to take that away from him. Like, he had a really crucial hit. But, I think the big thing here with Rice is that it's just been, since he had the 3-homer game, it's in his head. He has to do everything. You see the uptick. Now there's an angle. There's an angle when he's swinging. There's an uppercut. And we didn't see that before. We kept lauding him as the person that is going up there and having the same swing, putting the same bat on the ball.
We mentioned the simple approach. And his approach right now looks everything but simple. Yeah. And the Yes broadcast in general over the past week has mentioned Ben Rice is struggling on pitches up in the zone. Well, do you really think a team in a win now situation has time to wait for a young player to figure out what he's doing at the plate? You don't have that time. So the Yankees might look at this and say, well, let's go get a short-term answer that gives us control into the future as well. You don't have to worry about necessarily giving up a ton of prospects and not having anything in the future.
And guys, don't be surprised if Isaac Paredes is traded to the Yankees and they trade Ben Rice for him. Do not be surprised.
As if he's just like a part of that huge package?
I will say I don't think he will, because I think a big reason why they were willing to move on from Agustin Ramirez is that they look at Ben Rice as he's going to be a catcher as well, to back up Austin Wells. The way Austin Wells is playing right now is the reason why Augustin Ramirez was traded. That he is really starting to blossom into the player that I really felt like he could be. When we talked about him at the beginning of the season, I was like, this is a guy that I think could hit 20, 25 bombs, and I think he could be like Posada. And I'm not saying he's there yet.
There have been a few people to say that too. And you can just see it. I mean, when he makes contact, it's hard contact. And that's why Baseball Savant tells a story. What?
He could be better than Posada. The reason I say that, the athleticism. Did you see him today? Did you see him outrun that bunt? He just drops a bunt down. He beat that thing out by a mile.
I think he can be better in some areas of baseball. Like, I do think he can be physically a better catcher than Posada was, but do I think that
He's
he
not
can
a switch
be
hitter? I mean, that you got to give him a lot of credit for that. But
yeah, being a switch hitter obviously helps. But I just think in general, Posada is a better bat. He just always will be. But the bat is still there with this player. Like, I know you look at him and say he's hitting 230. There's not much there if you just kind of stare at the stat sheet. But watching Austin Wells play, he's a different player.
Yeah.
For the past month and a half, he's a different player. So I will say this. It seems like he's relieved. Like, he's not worried about making hard contact into outs the way it seemed like he was at the beginning of the year. He wasn't as frustrated now as he was earlier. And it's obviously helping. And then I hate to say this because I never want to say an injury is a blessing in disguise, but Trevino getting hurt really took him out of the equation. And now it's like same thing with Tom Brady, right?
Yeah.
Where Drew Bledsoe gets hurt, you don't want Drew Bledsoe to go down. But what it does is it thrusts a player who doesn't necessarily have the role, and now you just have to have the role. So I think potentially having nobody that can be over your shoulder may have helped Austin Wells in his progression as the Yankees catcher. And it could have helped the Yankees progress into the future by saying, okay, this guy clearly can take this position long term. We can feel comfortable trading a catcher out of our system. And it seems like that's what happened.
So I actually was thinking about something while you were saying that, because I agree with you wholeheartedly. But, kind of wrapping up the show, Stroman pitched poorly. You have Rodon, who's hit or miss. Heel is really the only one that right now you feel like, okay, he's back to doing his thing, but he's also never pitched this many innings before. They've talked about, he moved down to fifth. Like Boone mentioned, he wanted to be creative. God knows what that means. And it's like, we're sitting here, we're talking about Fairbanks and Isaac Paredes and all these guys. And it's like, I kind of feel like a starting pitcher is almost becoming more of a need than I ever expected, because they can't have tonight be an occurrence. Like, I mean, the way the offense has been swinging the bat, like the last two games, that's such an anomaly compared to the baseball we've watched the last 2 months. So
no, those were blowouts. If you asked me 2 weeks ago, hey, if Stroman gave up that type of performance early in this game, we're talking about like, we don't even see Clay Holmes. We don't see any of these guys. You probably see Cousins and maybe like Tim Hill and one other guy. Yeah, like you just see them pitch, because frankly, if Stroman goes 2 innings, that's just a loss. And so you can't expect this type of performance long-term from the Yankees offense. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But I will say, to your point, you can't afford to have these blow-up starts from Nestor Cortez. Nestor Cortez has been bad 2 starts in a row. Horrible. Absolutely blown up. Stroman just got blown up, and he gave him no length. So is that acceptable as we progress into the season? And I can't hesitate to even call this the season, because I almost feel like this is a second season. These games just before the postseason, these are not the same games that you played in May and in July.
No,
this is not that, like, these.
Everyone's
the games
up now. There's no like
the games in August and September are going to be different. They're going to feel different. Do we trust Nestor Cortez? Do we trust Marcus Stroman? I feel like I trust Marcus Stroman a little bit more, just from a standpoint of he's got a little bit more pedigree in big games to be successful. So, but I'm not putting, all my money on that, because frankly, there's a reason he didn't get big money in free agency. He's not the type of guy that you can have any type of expectation he's going to be good in October. But we've got some question marks, to your point, in our rotation. There are definitely question marks. And I will say, Jake, I don't know. And if you had to give me like gun to my head, I have to answer this. I don't think the Yankees get a starting pitcher. And the reason being is because we need bats in a hurry. And I don't know if the Yankees, after getting Chisholm, they need one more bat, for sure, one more bat of an upgrade. And then you still have to pivot and go get a starting pitcher at a level that you trust more than Marcus Stroman. That's going to cost a lot for the New York Yankees. And I just don't know if we're going to do that twice.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go top notch. Like, I think it would be like that Eflin tier. So maybe like a Jack Flaherty. Do you think Jack Flaherty is enough?
I saw he was on Hug Watch earlier today, which I mean, I don't know
because he's hugging, but like we never saw anything. Nothing.
If Cashman does the Jack Flaherty deal, I would be happy. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I think Jack Flaherty, especially in 2024, is a better player than Nestor Cortez and Marcus Stroman. I think Marcus Stroman has pitched very well overall this season, so I don't want to just wipe away everything he's done based on what he did today, because I think that would be unfair.
It is
but
unfair.
There's no question Flaherty, at least stuff-wise, is a better player.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I think at some point they were hoping, well, let's just be honest here. The Yankees had a plan. We got to give them credit, right? Poteet, Clark Schmidt, both those guys get hurt. You know who else that they were counting on? JT Brubaker, who they bought low on, right? They really liked his stuff. They were working him up as a starter. He gets hurt in his rehab assignment, probably done for the year. You know who else they were working on building up into a starter? Clayton Beeter. Guess what? He was just transferred from the 7-day IL to the 60-day IL on July 22nd. His season's over. So they've had some bad stuff happen. Now, this is baseball. This is 162 games. So you have to expect that this stuff is going to happen. You're going to come across this shit. It happens. What do you do to combat that? And unfortunately, trading away Drew Thorpe in the Soto deal doesn't really give them an option in the minors that they could call up. Will Warren is just not, it's not going to work.
He's not producing to the level, obviously, that you can feel comfortable. You're going to put Will Warren on a mound in September, early September, and trust him in a big game? I wouldn't.
He's in single A working on his stuff because he's hurt. You know, he's the rehab assignment. Now, obviously, hindsight 2020, you trade Chase Hampton instead of trading Drew Thorpe. And now you feel great. But that's not what happened. So I think Jack Flaherty is in play. I think Tyone's in play. I don't buy that report. People were saying it like, oh, rival executives thinks it's going to cost Jason Dominguez and Spencer Jones for Tyone. No, I don't buy that.
Who even thought to tweet that?
Because
whoever that is, I'm just, after the show's done, after you hit stop recording and we upload this, please tell me who that was. I'll go block them right now. I'm being so serious. That's whoever said that is not a serious reporter or a serious baseball fan. Give me a break. Jameson Tyone. Yeah, right.
That's ridiculous.
That's a 4-starter in the big leagues.
Now, what I will say is there are, there's obviously the bigger fish in the market, right? Skubal, I don't believe the Yankees are trying to go big ticket, but it almost makes you wonder, like, do you have to go big ticket with the way things are going on? And, I'll say this. I think Flaherty would be my leader in the clubhouse right now. If I'm trying to predict what they would do, that feels like it. But I still haven't gotten over, not Montas. I'm not going that route. Come on, Morosi. No way.
I know. Can you believe he'd do that to us?
I know.
I kind of do. I mean, I've been talking to him for a while, so he felt comfortable.
Bowden
with the group today.
Bowden mentioned Blake Snell. Blake Snell just had 15 strikeouts in 6 innings and didn't get the win. I'd be out of there in 2 seconds. They'll be like, get me the hell out of here.
It's been tough over there in San Francisco.
How the hell do you give up 2 hits in 6 innings, no runs, and strike out 15 and not get a win?
I mean, that's pretty easily. You can do that for the Yankees like 3 weeks ago.
I know.
2 weeks ago, you could go no-hitter, and somehow this Yankees offense could fail to score. And it's not hard to see why the Yankees don't score a ton of runs. I know today, if you just picked up baseball for the first time, you think the Yankees were the old Yankees. But if you actually do a deep dive into what this team does when the pressure's on, like when there's guys on second and third base, that's when hitters need to execute. Today, where the Yankees had 16 hits and 11 runs, just a fantastic day around the yard, we were 5 for 19 with runners in scoring position, which is terrible, by the way. Horrible. It's not good. Okay. It'll get it done, obviously, because you have 19 opportunities. Obviously, if there's 19 guys in scoring position, you're going to win the game. Like, that's more than likely how that goes. But 5 for 19, it's not like we went ham with men in scoring position. That's what the Yankees need to get better at, getting guys in scoring position and then executing. So if the Yankees can do that more consistently, I personally, Jake, just don't see a world where the Yankees go big ticket for a pitcher. I just don't see it, because when you do that, it takes you completely out of the mix for a bat, and the Yankees need a bat in the worst way. And if you go trade for a Skubal, which we know is not going to happen more than likely, I mean, I'm sure the trade will just go down right when we go off the air.
Good.
But I will say, you can't expect Paredes. You can't expect, like, even maybe a Rosario. Maybe that doesn't even make any sense anymore. India doesn't make any sense anymore when you give up Spencer Jones or a Dominguez for a high-priced guy like that. So I'm going to say the Yankees, there's just no way that that's going to happen. If Flaherty happened, I'd be thrilled. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
What about
We'll
Blake
hope
Snell,
that
by the
something.
way?
Blake Snell, I'll be honest.
I'm
if
kinda
Blake
open
Snell
to
came
that.
our way, I'm not upset. But I'm assuming contract-wise, if the Yankees assume the money, they can make this work prospect-wise. So we'll see.
Blake Snell, since coming back from injury, because he got hurt in the Yankee game, ironically, June 2nd, right?
Mhm.
Since he came back, he's had 4 starts, and he's given up 2 runs in those 4 starts. He has an ERA below 1.
Yeah, he's been ridiculous. He's been who he was in the Cy Young year.
And to me, he's only given up, what, 8 hits in 4 starts? So I'm going to be honest with you. I like when Bowden said Blake Snell, I kind of thought about it. I was like, And then I went and I looked into what he's doing since he got healthy. Blake Snell is pitching like that's the guy you would want in October. And he's pitching in meaningless games right now. And the cool thing is about this, if he wants to continue being on the Yankees, like say they acquire him, he's got an opt-out. But if, he doesn't have to opt out, right? So it's like 30.
Oh, he has an opt-out at the end of this year?
Yeah. So,
oh, well, okay. So considering that, I just think there's 0 chance this happens. And I'll tell you, unless they're trading nothing for him and they're just assuming his contract, I think there's no way this happens, because Brian Cashman, in my estimation, there's no way that he trades bigger prospects for Blake Snell. You acquire Blake Snell, he goes and helps you get deep in a playoff run. Let's say you lose in the World Series to Philadelphia. Now you turn around and all those prospects you just lost, they're just now gone, and you have to turn around and give Blake Snell, because Blake Snell would opt out if he pitched well in New York, clearly.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no way that you can argue Blake Snell would pitch incredibly well and then stay with his 2-year, $66 million deal. No way. It would be like Corbin Burns, essentially. That whole pickup. So
that's true.
I just don't see it.
That is true. I don't know. I think it's interesting. Jack Flaherty, I think he's on a 1-year deal, right? I'm
not sure on that.
So, I mean, that's the thing. If he's on a 1-year deal, then it'd be like the same as getting Blake Snell, essentially. So
yeah, but it's not going to cost you nearly as much.
No,
in my estimation.
No, because
which is partially why it's
Cy Young winner.
Yeah, that's why it's possible.
Yeah, Flaherty's a rental, making 14 this year, so he essentially is making what DJ LeMahieu's making, and actually is a good player right now. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think. I mean, do you want I guess that's kind of the tough part. Do you want a guy with control, or are you okay for a rental? To me, I
don't care about control. I don't care about it.
I actually don't want a rental. Here's why. Because Stroman is on the roster next year, but I could totally see Stroman regressing to the point where they're like, all right, we don't even want you back next year. You know what I mean? Like, I could see that. Cortez is a free agent. Rodon, we don't know what Rodon is, right? Cole, I mean, I think Cole's going to bounce back from the last start. I'm not really worried about Cole the way other people are, but a lot of people are worried about Cole right now. And then Heel has some injury concerns. Like, I'm still a little, it's in the back of my mind. Like,
I'm not necessarily concerned with Heel just because there's nothing for us to be concerned about. Like, I mean, someone's history, I get it. But this isn't Jacob deGrom, okay? Like, Jacob deGrom gets hurt 4 years in a row.
No,
you go to year 5 and you're like, okay, well, he's healthy now, but It's like Giancarlo. Giancarlo Stanton is a player who, even when he's healthy and hitting, in the back of your mind, you're like, well, history tells me this player won't be around in August. Like he's just won't be healthy. Heel got hurt, and yes, that's true, but he got hurt once, and he's here once. So he doesn't really have a huge track record of just going down like a fly. I just think in general, we have to put some level of faith in him. I understand he's a question mark.
Oh no, I
but
have my
the
faith
Yankees
in him,
next,
but
then the Yankees next year should go young in the rotation. You should be seeing Poteet, you should be seeing Schmidt. All those guys should be filling out your rotation. You don't necessarily have to go. If you go get a Blake Snell per se, and he does walk, I just don't know. Depending on what you're giving up, you want to make sure something's around. Like, of course, having control would be great, but if you have less control, technically you should be able to give up less.
Like the Tanner Scott move is going to be a rental. So are you okay double dipping on rentals? Like getting a rental starting pitcher, rental reliever. Like
I need to see those packages that are going out, of course. Because if Miami thinks that like, oh, we're giving you this all-star closer who's a rental, so give us Spencer Jones. I mean, I'd laugh in their face.
Yeah.
But if you're telling me that I'm trading for a player like Paredes, who's 25 years old and can play first base, I will do that move any day of the week. I'm putting Spencer Jones in that actual deal and not worrying about it, because I do have some level of security of what's happening next year while massively upgrading in 2024.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, I think it'll be really interesting to see part of that whole starting pitcher thing, because I mean, I just hope they all turn it around. I mean, I don't really want to trade for a starting pitcher. You know what I mean? It was just something I was thinking of. But I'm going to be honest with you. I think they want to get these deals done before the deadline. And I think at the deadline, they want to kind of reevaluate, maybe see if they can get a starting pitcher on that day. So I think that's the move. I think it's smart. Today, a lot of teams got out in front of the deadline, including the Yankees. A lot of moves.
Please don't ever use out front of ever again. As much as I've heard Boone say it's right in front of us, I feel like I can't hear it again. There's just no way.
Oh, yeah. Well,
it's right in front of us.
Well, he said, what is it? The end is almost near. I was like, that's not good.
Aaron Boone would be the worst war general you ever see in your life. If he was my war general, I'd probably just like kill myself just so I didn't have to fight. It's like, I don't even want to fight for you. I just turn them. I would just run into the battlefield with no gun, like Hacksaw Ridge, just die.
Oh my God. That's so bad. Oh yeah. Well, anyway, so tomorrow we got Rodon on the mound taking on Tanner Houck. I don't know how to say his name, but unfortunately, you got ESPN tomorrow, 7 ESPN baseball. Does
that mean we're getting your favorite broadcaster?
Well, it means we're getting David Cohn, who I love.
No, but who's the other guy?
Eduardo Perez.
We're getting him tomorrow, aren't we?
Oh God. Oh, we're also getting the obnoxious like they're probably gonna have Verdugo with his giant, like his chains hitting the mic. Remember that?
Yeah, I'm here to tell you right now.
No one needs.
I don't know who ESPN thinks they are doing these interviews during the game. Who enjoys that?
No, I just get nervous, man. I'm like, something's gonna happen. Like they're gonna get like a serious injury, and ESPN's gonna be like, "Are you okay?"
I really we're gonna get one of those like Family Guy situations where the dude's just on the ground, just like and they're gonna have to cut the mic. It's gonna be so ugly.
Oh, dude, it's gonna. It'll happen someday, and like Eduardo Perez will be like, "Are you okay out there?" It's like, everything good. It's like, and dude's running the bases inside the park, home run, guys writhing in pain. Yeah, I think we can get rid of that. It was kind of cool seeing it once with Juan Soto. I don't need to see it every time. I don't. Also, ESPN, can you just bring back A-Rod Jeter and Michael Kay? Thank you. I'd appreciate that. Or better yet, let's just keep that. I won't go where I was gonna go, but anyway, that's gonna do it. Because we could just go on and on and on. And
great game today, though. So we are thrilled to see that. And I'm expecting more fireworks for the Yankees. Jack Curry doesn't usually talk if no deal is going to get done. So the fact that Jack Curry is deciding to use this platform to discuss trades, and he's throwing names out there and positions and all types of stuff like that. Hey, I think something is on the horizon. Let's just say that.
Bowden said they'd be aggressive. He did. So he was I mean, right on, I think. I mean, I think they're very aggressive to get Chisholm already. And that's not even close to what they are not even close to done. I'm going to say that right now. I think I'm going to say they make one or two more moves, but I think they're going to get probably like three to five players, I'm going to say.
Okay. I say they're going to get an arm and a bat for sure. Like an arm, like a big arm, big bat. Somebody that's better than league average. Let's just say that. And that's plenty. That's all we need.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll definitely see if they prioritize the rental or the control, the years of control with Paredes. Rental would be Yandy Diaz, would be Jack Flaherty, would be Tanner Scott. So we'll see. And we know Mason Miller's off the board and they're not trading Brent Rooker. So the A's are our enemy. It's that simple.
They'll trade those guys eventually. They'll just wait till they get nothing for them, kind of like Ohtani with Anaheim.
No, Rooker is literally going to have the same exact fate as Matt Olson. I can already see it. It's going to be an off-season trade, and you're going to be like, why didn't you just do it at the deadline when everyone's just throwing money your way?
Because they're stupid, that's why.
Yeah, well, makes sense. So that's going to do it. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. We appreciate you guys so much. The subscriptions and all that have been kind of crazy. It just continues to grow on this channel, and we got another guest for you tomorrow. But we'll see if Rodon can bring it home or the offense stays alive. We'll see, but really do appreciate you guys. Be sure to follow us on social media. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Like this video.